Well, this is a pleasant surprise. I thought they might have it ready to go, but I'm here in Almería at Motos Matilla getting Norman's 12-month service done, and they said, do you want to go out on the new Himalayan? And obviously I thought it would be rude not to, so here we are. So this bike has done 114 kilometers, so it's still brand new. And they've gone for the nice black and yellow colour combination with the gold wheels. Well, we're stuck behind a bus at the moment, but anyway, this isn't going to be a review. This is just literally my first impressions because I'm waiting for my bike to get serviced. So I'm just taking this for a spin now. If you want a proper review, I unreservedly recommend Exeter Rider's review on this bike because he's covered absolutely everything. So yeah, this isn't a review, this is just literally a 411 owner's first impressions of the new Himalayan, and I'll just take you along with me, and anything that comes into mind I'll let you know. So I already noticed one thing, and that is that the angle that the bike has on the side stand, it's really steep. When you get on the bike with it on the side stand, with a full tank of fuel like we've got here, you have to kind of heave it to get it upright, and when you put the bike back onto the side stand, it feels like it's never going to touch the ground. You keep dropping the bike, and the side stand still hasn't hit the pavement. So yeah, it's a bit of an extreme angle. It's almost the opposite of what they did with the 411, which was criticised for not having enough angle on the side stand, which is true. They seem to have gone the other way with this one. It's got a lot of angle when it's on the side stand. So today I'll just do my normal test route, get out of the city, go for a little blast on the motorway, and then come back. That should be enough to get a sense of the bike. So yeah, bear with me as I fight my way through the city. So far the engine's feeling nice and smooth, but yeah, certainly in city traffic, very comfortable. The seat height's a bit higher than on my 411, sort of on a bit more on tiptoes here. I haven't got the I can just about get, I can't quite get both balls of both feet on the ground, which I can on my 411 just about. So yeah, I'm certainly noticing that the seat's a bit higher. I don't know how they've got this one set. I imagine this is just a factory setting. They won't have adjusted it, I don't imagine, but it's not a problem. It's manageable for someone like myself who has a 30-inch inside leg, in case you were wondering. So it's not, for an adventure bike, it's not particularly tall. I would say it's fairly accessible. I'm not used to seeing a digital display on a Royal Enfield. It's going to take some getting used to. It's 100% digital. I spoke to the people in the shop, and it's possible that we're going to try and demonstrate the phone connectivity with my phone, if we can get it to work. So that may come at the end of the video, or it may not. I just thought that would be interesting to see how that all works. So actually, I think this is the first test ride I've done where it hasn't been blowing a gale. It's not too windy at all today, so there you go, there's a first for us. And it's sunny as well, so yeah, it's not bad at all. The front brake has kind of got that typical Royal Enfield sort of lack of bite, but when you start pulling it harder and harder, then obviously the brakes are effective. And I think that's intentional, that Royal Enfield set up their front brakes like that, because on poor road surfaces or loose surfaces you don't really want bite in the front brake, because that could send you down. So I got a feeling that the bikes are like this, not because they can't do it any different, but just because for the Indian market particularly, it probably makes more sense to have the brakes like this. And for us in Europe, the main thing is they work. You just have to pull them a little bit harder than maybe you would on other makes of bike, but it's not a problem. There you go, 26 degrees. That's what it feels like as well. Yeah, it certainly doesn't feel like a tall bike. You know, I'm quite short on the leg, but it's fine for me. So we'll just dive down here. This will take us to the seaside. The gearbox has got a very light, snickety action. How could I compare it to the classic 350? Probably even lighter than the classic 350. It's a really light gearbox. It doesn't need a lot of effort to change gears. Not a lot of resistance there. Oh yeah, we've got 6 gears today, haven't we? So I'll have to remember to try 6th gear. So I was talking to the dealer, as usual. That's my friendly local Royal Enfield dealer, Motos Matilla, here in Almería. I was speaking to them about how the initial sales of the Himalayan 450 have gone, and they said, yeah, we've sold a ton of them, and it already feels like it's probably going to be the most successful model ever. So it's really going down a storm, apparently. Yeah, so my impressions so far are very light gearbox, really easy to operate. Doesn't feel particularly high, even though it is taller than my 411. And that the front brake doesn't have a lot of bite. It's not a grabby front brake, but it's just a front brake that most Royal Enfield owners will be familiar with. It certainly works when you give it a decent pull. There you go, bit of seaside action. Actually, I can share a funny story with you. The mechanic at the dealership, he's recently discovered YouTube, let's put it that way. And now, the previous time I was here, he said, YouTube's amazing, you can find everything on YouTube, it's brilliant, I've got a smart TV and now I've got YouTube and it's awesome, and all I do now in the evenings, I don't watch telly anymore, I just watch YouTube. So pretty much like me, really. Anyway, back then I mentioned, or he knew from the people in the shop, that I have a channel. So he wanted to know which channel it was, so I told him. So anyway, since then, apparently he's been watching all of my videos. And when I turned up with the Himalayan to get it serviced, he came straight out of the workshop and said, you scare me, going up those mountains all on your own, you shouldn't be doing that. He says, I'm scared for you. And he said, what are you going to do if you get a puncture? I said, oh, I don't know, I'll figure something out. You know, I mean, that's adventure, right? They're called adventure bikes. That's the adventure. Stuff will happen and you'll have to figure out a way to get it sorted. And you know, at the time, yeah, it'll be a drag when something like that happens, but ultimately you'll solve it somehow, and when you've solved it, you'll look back on that as a little adventure. Oh, there's worse ways to spend a day. even though this isn't a review, it's sort of turning into one. But anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd mention the fit and finish, as has been reported multiple times elsewhere. Definitely a step up. We now have 350 model range levels of welding going on. The welds look nice and tidy, everything's nicely finished. I've got nothing vibrating and rattling around here. It's all feels very solid, very well put together. Yeah, as you can probably hear, it's quite windy here down by the sea, but by our standards this is quite a calm day really. There we go. I was doing about 60 k's in 5th, and I thought that's probably going to be too slow for 6th gear, but I've just sneaked it into 6th and it's absolutely fine. So obviously the 6 ratios are fairly close together, I would imagine. There didn't seem to be a massive jump from 5th to 6th. Admittedly this engine is brand new, but I'm kind of already noticing when you let the revs drop and you want the engine to pick up, I'm having to apply quite a decisive amount of throttle for the engine to recover and pick up, whereas on the 411 it doesn't really matter. You can just apply a little bit of throttle and you notice straight away that the engine's happy to pick it up. With this bike it definitely feels like low down. It's not really happy. Just needs more of a throttle input when the revs drop to get anything, get everything moving again. Obviously that can change quite a bit once the engine is properly running. It's just an observation, first impression. I noticed it coming off the roundabout back there. I twisted the throttle what I would consider to be a normal amount to get the engine to pick up, and it wasn't really happy, and I just had to give it a bit more, and then it did pick up, but it just needed a bit more throttle than I would need to apply on the 411. The dealer was explaining to me, they said when I asked them how the 450 Himalayan was doing, they said we've had a lot of people that have come in and said, I'm not really looking to buy one, but I'd like to try it. So basically they just went to try it, and they said that a lot of people that weren't intending to buy one bought one after they tried it. So it's obviously a bike that doesn't disappoint, makes a good impression on people, because it's converted some of those people into buyers, so that's good news. So the road up here was closed last time I wanted to go down it. I wonder if it's open today. Oh, looks like it. So this is our little Almería airport. It's very dinky, very cute. So now I'm just working my way up to the motorway. See what it's like at 60 miles an hour, which for me would be a nice cruising speed. Possibly I'll see how it is at 70 as well. I'm not finding the screen to be too disruptive really. Yeah, I guess it stops working about here, just above the shut line of the visor, so yeah, probably it's dumping air onto my helmet actually. So we're in 6th gear now, doing 74. Oh yeah, then turn on the taps and it just goes. That's wonderful, because I think we're now into the sort of meat of the power band at sort of 3.5, anything above 3,500. When you twist the throttle, things happen. So yeah, so that would be definitely a nice place to keep it when you're cruising. Here you can see where we grow our tomatoes, all of these white tents. That's where they grow tomatoes. I did actually get the wind push the bike to the left there. It's a bit unexpected. Rev bomb, there you go. Woohoo! Oh, that was a bit unexpected. Jeez. Oh yeah, at 100 k's I am getting more vibes through the pegs than I would on Norman, and through the bars. But then we're doing 5,000 RPM. I don't know what we'd be doing on Norman, but it would probably be a fair bit less than that. So yeah, this engine is definitely buzzy, that has to be said. And to be honest, I think at 100 k's, as things stand, at 100 k's Norman is better than this. It's smoother, and the vibes are already starting to make my hands go tingly. But of course, with the caveat, this is a brand new engine and it will improve over time. And yeah, we can only hope. Oh, the vibes through the pegs. Oh dear. Yeah, I'm really interested to hear if anyone has actually managed to run one of these in yet, and to find out just how much it's smoothed out. Because I tell you what, I'd rather ride Norman at 100 k's at the moment than this. I'll take it up to 120 in a minute, but I don't think that's going to improve matters, let's put it that way. Yeah. Wow. Right, so I'm just going to wait for a gap in the traffic and then pin it. Here we go. Ay, ay, ay. Well, I have some good news. I have some good news. It doesn't feel significantly worse at 70 miles an hour than it did at 60. So the chances are, if once it's run in, it's smooth at 60, it will probably be more or less equally smooth at 70, because I didn't really notice a huge amount of difference there. But it certainly goes, wow, it goes. It's powerful. Maybe not super smooth, but that might improve over time. Let me just try that again. 100 k's. Oh, I'll tell you what, if I put the balls of my feet onto the foot pegs, I can really feel how many vibes I'm getting through the pegs, and it's quite a lot. And through the bars, probably slightly less than I'm getting through the pegs. So I don't know what that means, but just thought I'd put it out there. What was that I said about it not being windy? Yeah, the wind certainly picked up since this morning. Now I have watched quite a lot of videos about this bike from India when it first came out over there, and a few people did come to the conclusion that that the 450, although it has a higher potential cruising speed than the 411. In reality, it's not there, because they say that when you're doing these higher speeds with the 450, the vibrations become unpleasant. So yeah, so I did kind of wonder what it was going to be like, and yeah, vibrations are definitely present at 100 k's, 60 miles an hour, and at 70, of course, about the same, maybe slightly worse, but not noticeably. So yeah, a few people came to the conclusion that the effective cruising speed of this bike is going to be 100 k's, because anything above that isn't pleasant. And then, of course, the 411 will do that. So then that posed the question, do I need to upgrade? And yeah, a lot of people said probably not. So I don't know. I mean, it's a nice bike, but I really would like to know what it's going to be like when it's running, because as it is at the moment, I think I'd prefer touring on Norman than this. But there you go. I knew this test was going to be inconclusive. I knew it was going to be inconclusive, because unless you've ridden this bike with 2,000 miles on it, you can't really judge the engine. So all I will say is I haven't been disappointed by the level of the vibrations, i.e. they're kind of what I expected them to be, and yeah, that is slightly disappointing. Yeah, you've kind of experienced this ride live with me, and I think the takeaway is that yeah, it's not the smoothest engine by any means, and yeah, that could be an issue for some, depending upon the intended use. I would say that the vibes start to become an issue really just before 60 miles an hour. So like riding around town is wonderfully smooth, you wouldn't notice it at all. So there you go, that was my little Himalayan 450 test ride, and it was interesting. Yeah, and this is the side stand that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, the bike's at quite an angle. When you want to upright it, it's quite a long way for you to go before you get there, and when you get off the bike, it feels like it's going to fall over. It feels like the ground's a long way away, but other than that, all good. And yeah, as I was sort of half expecting, the vibes caused me concern, but everything else, really enjoyed it. Oh yeah, when I was in the shop I was going, oh yeah, it's a nice looking bike, where's the rear light? I thought it'd fallen off, but it's actually in here. Yeah, so there you go, that's where your rear light is. It's in the indicators. The brake lights are in there as well. Awesome job. So before leaving, I did manage to film the Tripper Dash in operation and demonstrate the phone connectivity and the navigation. And I also filmed my collected thoughts on the ride home with Norman. But since this video is long enough already, I've decided to make a second video, a follow-up video next week, where I give you my final thoughts on my first impressions of the Himalayan 450, and I'll also try and include a little bit of footage of the phone connectivity and the navigation via the Tripper Dash. So Ruby, is that you sitting in the hole that you're digging trying to get to Buddy in Australia? Oh right, so what did you think about Daddy test riding the Himalayan 450 then? Less motorbikes, more sausages. Well, funny you should mention it, because we have sausages. This week's sausages come from Stefan, Doro and Ramses from Germany. Yeah, amazing, right? From Germany. Oh, those Germans, they make the best sausages. They might well do. So, let's go. Oh, yeah, German sausage. Nice one. Dankeschön.